NCIS Sydney is back for season 2, and joining me now are stars of the show, Olivia Swann and Todd Lasance. Good morning. How are you both doing? Excited to speak to you.
How are you,
Good
Blake? Thanks for having
morning.
us.
I'm
Doing well.
good. I'm good. Yes, you both look great. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me this morning. So, all right, you guys, we're at the start of season 2. So, why don't you kind of remind our audience where we left off at season 1 and kind of maybe where things pick off on this season 2 premiere?
At the end of season one, it was pretty heavy for my character for JD, with his son being kidnapped, and there's a massive sort of finale at the end where everything comes to a head, and then we think, okay, the rescue's done and he's safe and everything's back to normal, and then there's this amazing little cliffhanger moment where we feel like there might be a bit of an inside job. But the cool
Yeah.
thing is,
That's where we pick up
yes,
in season 2, pretty much exactly where we left off.
yeah,
So
like 10 seconds
yeah,
later. So
Mackie,
there's no
there we
time
go.
jump.
Yeah,
It's
it's straight
straight
in,
into it.
straight into the intensity,
Yeah.
straight into the action, and it just ramps up, ramps up, ramps up.
Yeah.
It's great.
It just ramps up. Hey, I love that. Okay, so speaking of then, Todd, your character obviously undergoes this very kind of real life and also traumatizing experience of, maybe potentially losing a child. So how would you say, maybe without giving too much away, that kind of affects your character heading into the season?
It's really interesting. It kind of pops up in different ways. You get a bit more of an insight into JD's personal life and his relationship, his family dynamic in season two, which is really nice. It also his living environment, which also affects other elements of the show and his character. And it's a really nice kind of rounding of that story, but also leaves a lot more to explore. But again, that's where I love the way that cliffhanger ended, because we don't let that go. We really
Yeah.
run hard with that storyline, and then it diverts as well, and then goes into a whole other realm, and we go to another part of Australia, and like it just goes next level.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, so speaking of that, speaking of going to another part of Australia, it's so fun because this is the, first international version of this very popular franchise that's been around. So, what's it like kind of getting to be a part of that international version of the franchise? But then furthermore, what's it like getting to go to these more kind of fun, exotic locations compared to maybe some of the US based city locations?
It's incredible. I mean, I feel like we get to showcase this amazing place, and we show places that don't even look real. And
Yeah.
it's almost like you kind of can't believe your eyes, even when we're there on location filming, uh, being able to kind of put that into such a well-known franchise like NCIS, I think is just such a privilege.
And there's no green screen as well. I think we've got to
Yes.
also just, because sometimes I'll see shots and go, that actually looks fake, because of how unbelievable the environment is. And I mean, some of the shots on the harbour are just phenomenal. I've lived in Sydney before, and I'm obviously Australian, giveaway. And we rock up to certain locations in Sydney, and I'm like, this is just phenomenal,
Yeah.
particularly around the harbour. But then also when we go potentially up north, spoiler alert, that is like we're on another planet. And I've
Yeah.
been there before, but when I was sort of in my teen years, and going there for the show was such a an unbelievable experience as well, because we're also in what you'd kind of call the most sort of dangerous predator environment of Australia as well, because I know there's obviously the name of that. So there, everything that can kill you is up there as well. So you're just aware of that. The climate is next level. So yeah, it's we're so lucky that
Yeah.
we get to do
Yeah.
that as part of our job. Like we're just taken there and we shoot there. So yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, really no complaints as far as where you get to show up to work every day, right? So, something else that kind of stands out to me about this version of the franchise is this idea that the NCIS agents kind of combine with the Australian Federal Police as this huge combined force. So, kind of tell me more about that blended family of those forces and the characters and kind of what that's been like for you all.
Well, I think it really just kind of was parallel to our own experience as a cast. We all kind of came
Yeah.
together and built our own relationship as the characters were building theirs. And with season 2, we really kind of delve into the character relationships and how they interact. And we get deeper into that. We see how JD and Mackie, become closer and friends and they trust each other. We also
Yes.
get to see how that is tested. And there's so many things in this season which help elevate the characters and how they interact, but also we really get to see what makes them tick.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about kind of those backstories and what kind of makes those characters special, right, as people. So now, Olivia, something that's really interesting is you play this American who's now in Australia, but you're actually from the UK, as some of your fans will know. So what's it kind of been like for you playing that, not being from either place, but then furthermore, like what are you loving about, your character Olivia and just getting to play her?
Well, I mean, I think Mackie is fantastic. I love her. And the more I get to be in her shoes and, exist as her, the more I come to love and respect her. I think she's incredible. And she's a woman that I would love to be myself. In terms of accent, it is a bit weird that I spend most of my time in Australia as an American. So
That's
kind of
true.
by the time I leave, I forget that I'm British, which is
She's in her accent from as soon as she gets picked up in the morning to when we wrap at night. So she stays in the
yeah.
American accent.
And it's a lot more tiring than I would expect. Some
It's
days
flawless too. I love it. I
just
think it's great.
everything hurts, but
Yeah. I don't want to be doing that.
Everything hurts. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting having to stay in character with that just to keep it up. I don't know. But speaking of your characters, something else that's kind of fascinating to me is, that you play these very intense kind of law enforcement based people, right? And I think there's so many different depictions of what that looks like across the world, both in real life, but also in media. So what's it been like for you, really embodying that and taking that on? Because there's a lot of weight that I think comes with that, especially in today's world.
I've always felt like I carry the weight of that and want to do it justice. We have federal police officers, we have NCIS, actual real Australian, well, NCIS agents in Australia based here, which is pretty cool. A lot of people don't know that we actually have NCIS agents in Australia. So we have them on set with us. We have federal police agents on set. We've had people travel from, top tiers of NCIS over to Australia as well, people from Washington. Law enforcement is such a global organization that I feel a lot of, I don't know if you'd call it pressure, but sort of an honor as well.
Yes, you want to honor the kind of intensity of it and the seriousness
Yes.
of it. But I think what NCIS does so well is combining the heart and the comedy with the kind of serious nature of the show.
Yeah, it's finding that fine line, and also because the subject matter that they deal with is so heavy a lot of the time, I think sometimes they do need to bring that humor and that comedy into it to sort of diffuse a lot of those situations as well. So it is finding that beautiful blend. But that's also the beauty of the show, why it's been so successful, why we love watching it ourselves, is because they intertwine that comedy, that drama, that touch of heaviness, but still keep it light. It's just, it's such a beautiful chemistry. If I may say so myself, I hope everyone agrees with our show, but I'm saying for the other shows, that it's such a beautiful blend. And I think that's why the show's been successful too. But yeah, we definitely feel the weight of wanting to do it justice for the law enforcement, for sure.
Yeah, well, we're excited to see that blend that you spoke on come together in NCIS Sydney Season 2. Olivia, Todd, thank you both so much for your time. NCIS Sydney's Fridays on CBS. Don't miss it. Thank you, guys.